Hi, this is Rick Gualtieri, and this is another Tales of a Midlist Author. So first off, I wanted to wish everyone a happy 4th of July. Um, let's face facts. What holiday weekend would be complete without another installment of this series? Okay, probably all of them, but that's beside the point. Anyway, I apologize if I look all disgustingly sweaty. I'm taking a little break from yard work to come up here and rectify something I noticed. Several weeks back, I posted an installment on rebranding. And I just realized, I'm like, wait a second, I never talked about branding to begin with, which is kind of a great big duh. So, before you rebrand, you kind of do need to establish a brand. So I want to spend a little bit of time talking about that. So what is your brand? Well, your brand is essentially the sum total of your public facing appearance. Um, that could be your books, the genre your books are in, your website, your blog, your social media, how you show up in searches, all of that stuff. Um, and it can encompass like a wide deal. So, for example, let's take an example of your books. Um, Chances are, especially if you're running a series, you're trying to position yourself in a certain way. So maybe you're going for a certain look and feel. Maybe you're going for certain fonts. You're probably going for some certain uniformity. So that when people see that, they think of you. Well, that's part of your brand. Um, Colors is another thing. Um, if you take a look at my website, in the past it was a bit of a mess. I'm trying to clean that up now. And I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking very carefully, like, okay, what imagery do I want on there? What fonts do I want on there? What colors do I want on there? Right now I'm settling for kind of a red black color scheme. Because it kind of fits a bit with the books I'm putting out there. So that's all part of it. A style guide for your website. That's always a good idea to have. And with regards to that, while we're on the subject, you typically want to look at a style guide is going to say, what are my fonts? What do my buttons look like? What colors? And you don't want to have you're not Skittles. You don't want to have a rainbow of colors. You typically want to go with maybe like 2, at most 3 primary color scheme with that. But anyway, that's just one part of branding. It can also be tone. Um, for people who aren't on social media, they don't really have a presence out there. Their books are primarily going to be their brand. But if you're out there marketing, um, you're out there on Twitter, you're out there on Facebook, hey, maybe you're on Pinterest. You want to kind of have a little bit of uniformity between that. Um, I know in the past I've done a lot of what I've done has involved chaos, but then I realized maybe chaos is kind of like a bit of my brand. You get a little smattering of everything. Maybe it's not the best branding, but I've been building that up, and honestly I don't know if I have the focus to do anything else. But these are all things that like establish your identity. So, for example, if you're on social media, um, you know, how do you present yourself? Are you always okay? Buy my books, buy my books, buy my books. In which case, you probably don't have much of a brand. You're just a spammer, really. But if you are interacting with people, how is it? You know, gotta love summer when school's out. Anyway, but what kind of tone are you presenting? Like typically, if I'm out there, um, I try to be relatively light. I don't get very serious on my social media, and that kind of fits the tone of my books, which I do write some dark stuff, but for the most part my main series is like relatively light. So I kind of try to keep that out there, try to be like clever and stuff like that. That's all part of my brand. But then you can go beyond that. Say for example, um, you know a good question to ask yourself is, what do you want to be known for? Now if you just say, okay, a genre, urban fantasy, that's going to take a while. You need patience to build that. But hey, maybe you want to establish yourself as a subject matter expert. What a lot of people will do is they're typically writing about something they're interested in, and as a result, they start doing a lot of blog posts on that and all of that, and they kind of make themselves okay, kind of like the de facto one of the de facto experts on that subject. So, for example, Bigfoot. I have a couple books with Bigfoot. I really don't write a lot of blog posts on that. I'm interested in the subject, but I don't really like go nuts on it. But that would be one area I could look into. I could post a lot of articles on on cryptozoology. I could talk to some of the famous cryptozoologists in the field. Um, get some interviews with them. I could go out on and do some field research. These are all things that that if I wanted to establish that as my brand, I could do so. I'd make sure that my search engine keywords are all, Bigfoot, cryptozoology, Caleb Mbembe, Loch Ness Monster, all of that stuff. These are things I would do to make sure that people know that, okay, not only am I writing about this stuff, but I'm living it too. I know what the hell I'm talking about. So but that all comes down to part of establishing your brand. Um, you know, One thing I would probably stress above all else is patience. You typically don't establish a brand overnight. If you come out there right away and say, "Hey, I'm the expert in historical romance," well, people might look and be like, "Yeah, okay, that's fascinating." Um, and let me tell you, if you go out there and you proclaim expertise in something, and people pick apart your stuff because it's just full of inaccuracies, not a good thing. So before you go out there and try to establish a brand as a certain expert, make sure you actually do your homework first. This one will probably be a short one. Once again, it's a patience thing. Decide, what do you want to be known as? What do you enjoy doing? That's another aspect. Part of your brand might not just be your professional outlook, but also, hey, what are the things I enjoy doing? Like, for example, I don't make it much of a secret that I'm a fan of Transformers. I collect them. You know, I have my Dinobots sitting here, over my desk, staring down at me. That's another thing. Make yourself known for things you like. It's all part of kind of the building the overall puzzle that is you, and that's really kind of what establishing a brand is. So it is consistency. But it's also kind of your look and feel. What do you want to be known as? What kind of information are you putting out there? All of it. So that's kind of that's kind of my thing. Pick a subject, a tone, color scheme, all of that, and really own it. Build it up over time as you release more books. Keep with it. If you rebrand those books, make sure you rebrand everything else to kind of match. That's pretty much what there is to it. It's establishing you online and what you wish to be. One last bit of caution: make sure that's a positive thing. You always read about people being Hollywood bad boys, the bad boy of whatever. Here's the thing: if you're a multi-million-dollar seller, you probably can afford to do that. If you're coming right out of the gate and just saying, hey, I'm just, my whole brand is I'm just a surly douchebag, to everybody. Well, once again, the difference between it's kind of the difference between being eccentric and crazy. At that point, people are looking and saying, okay, this is cute. People are probably looking and going, hey, I'm just going to back away slowly because I don't want to be associated with you. So I would typically say, make your brand a positive thing. However that may, whether it's tone, whether it's whether your brand is, well, maybe helping people, all of that. Just things to think about. Anyway, I should probably get back to my yard work because, why not? And, well, have a happy, safe, and fun 4th of July, assuming you celebrate it. If not, have an enjoyable weekend. And I will hope to speak to you again soon. Once again, my name is Rick Gualtieri, and this is Tales of a Midlist Author. Talk soon.